Hello and welcome. I am me, and Liz is her. You know us by now. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you've forgotten us. It's been so long, Liz. It's been weeks, months,
It has.
years.
Since the comics show, it's been quite a while, actually.
Yeah, it's been ages. Like, I've really missed doing it, actually.
Me too.
Because I feel like sometimes you lose the impetus to kind of read the weekly books as fast and things like that. So today we're going to do a couple of comic reviews. We've got Primordial by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino with colours by Dave Stewart. That's from Image. And we've also got Titans United #1 from Cavan Scott. Oh God, I can't remember. This is what happens. Yes, Jose Luis. Thank you. From DC Comics. We're going to talk about those two. We're also going to talk about that trailer that dropped very recently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also we are going to talk about Shang-Chi. We were going to do Shang-Chi as a separate show. Unfortunately, our kind of ever, we call this crushing comics, but we're the ones getting crushed by the schedule, unfortunately. At the moment.
Yeah, we did really want to do a full length review of Shang-Chi, and we will get into it as much as we can. But in a encapsulated, cap off to this episode.
So really sorry, guys, but we'll try and express as much as we felt about the movie in a short space as time as possible, and then we'll be back to the regular sort of movie reviews. I forget what the next thing out is. I think it's Venom, right? Venom 2.
Yeah, I think that's
mid-October. Mm-hmm. Although some mutual pals of ours have seen it. They were at the premiere. So, our pal Michael Adjie got to meet Andy Serkis and various members of the cast, I believe. He had a really good time there. I heard all about it last night. Last night I was at, speaking of really nice events, I was at the Why the Last Man launch for Disney Plus, which was fantastic. Like, I went to this immersive event, which recreated kind of environments from the show. And then we sat through a screening of the first episode. The first 3 episodes drop on Disney Plus on the 22nd of September. So make sure you watch it, guys. It was an amazing show. I really enjoyed it. Just a quick review, but we will get round to doing a full length review of it. We might do that one as a video, Liz. I think we probably maybe do the first 3 episodes.
We could try and do that. It's like over here, it's out on Hulu, I think, or FX, or I'm not sure.
And
exactly
in fact,
what network.
Liz, you can leap ahead of me on this one because it's already on Hulu. So it's actually, they've dropped the first 3 episodes on Hulu already, I believe. Right. They did that last week. But definitely worth watching, guys. I mean, quite different from the comic, but definitely worth watching. But I just want to say thanks to Disney Plus and to Gosh Comics as well, who helped make that possible. And also thank you to everyone who came to that event. I've already thanked them on Twitter. It was really lovely to see everyone. Got to see Ram, V, and Dan Waters afterwards in the pub for a drink, as well as our pal Chris Thompson. That was good fun. So yeah, hoping to see you guys more as things open up again and everyone gets back to normal. We're hopefully going to be talking to Dan about his new Arkham City book. And to Ram about Radio Apocalypse. Hopefully those things will happen. Fingers crossed. It all depends on their very busy schedules. Let's jump into the books. Liz, Primordial. How did you feel about this? I mean, Jeff Lemire is not cranking out, because it that makes him sound like he's just kind of speeding through. But he is a machine when it comes to getting comics out there.
He is, and it really doesn't show. Like in a book like this, it's because sometimes you can tell when a writer has a busy schedule.
Yeah,
what I mean. Like there's some guys who kind of just put out this insane amount of books, And to a degree, you can kind of feel it in some of their work. Whereas, you know, with this book, it's like he just really seems to have taken his time with it. You know, it's like the dialogue itself is kind of, you know, is kind of spare, but every sort of frame really counts. You know, I really liked it. I really like the setup. You know, you know, kind of that whole space race stuff. You know, that's all really interesting to me. You know, I've seen comics kind of touch on it before, but I really liked the twist with this one.
Sure. Like I think I liked the fact that the first issue in a way was quite decompressed, because it left you with such a cliffhanger at the end of that kind of first issue, which of course I won't share with you here. There was, I think, a comic for both of us that sort of came to mind with the last panel. Definitely for me.
Yes,
yeah.
for sure.
And,
you know, I know exactly what
straight
you mean.
away. And
it's a great comic. You know,
yes,
anybody who hits that last page will, you know, if you're a comics person, it's probably going to remind you of the same thing.
But it is an area that's been touched upon a lot, or a fair amount in comics. So, and I'm going to mispronounce his name because I always
Nick Abadaz. Nick Abadaz.
Thank you. There you go. Yeah, has just done Leica.
Well, that, I mean, that you know, I don't know if it's still out of print.
Well, I don't think so, because the movie is pretty much out now. So yeah, it's been made into a film, and I imagine that's going to be back out.
That book, okay. Wow, I had no idea they were doing a film of that.
Yeah.
But the comic itself, is it a live action film or?
I think it's animated.
Okay, yeah, I think it would have to be. I think it would have to be for it to work. But if you have never read Leica by Nick Abadaz, it's one of my favorite comics of all time. But it is like, if you are the type of, I mean, I don't know if it matters what type of person you are. Like, I cried so much during that book. I mean, I was, you know, I'd be on the tube reading it, crying. I'd be, you know, sitting behind the till at the comic shop, crying. I'd be thinking about it, walking down the street, crying.
Oh my God.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. And it's like, you know, it's the themes of the story are all about trust, and it is spectacular, and it had fallen out of print for a long time. And you know, there were so many times I wanted to recommend that book to people because it like touched me so much, but you know, it just wasn't available. So I am glad to hear that it is, and it's kind of getting its due, because it's a beautiful book. I mean, obviously we're talking about Primordial, but that book definitely came into my mind when we were talking about it.
I mean, I found this fascinating because, as you say, it is quite a sparse book, dialogue wise and caption wise. And I think that Lemire, or Lemire, I never know how to pronounce his name. I should do. I saw a video of him accepting an award the other day. So, and he did actually obviously give the correct pronunciation of his own name, which was useful. But I've of course forgotten it in a drunken haze now. But he seems to be a writer who trusts his creators to kind of run with their own pacing and decisions about the paneling, which in this case is amazing, because Sorrentino's work is stunning. Just, yeah, I mean, his use of tiny little panels just to create mood, and almost like they're almost like visual ellipses, you know, right? Like I really love what he does with the paneling. He did similar stuff. I mean, his use of kind of, I guess, almost graphic design elements for the Joker book, Killer Smile, that they did together, was phenomenal. And that book blew me away. Like, just the paneling and images in that were just, you know, and also it's I guess a testament to Lemire, because how do you even write some of that stuff? Like, right. So, you know, how do you even begin to describe? those images, if in fact that's what's happening, or perhaps they have a much closer creative relationship where, you know, Sorrentino is sketching and sending Lemire stuff, and Lemire's writing to that.
Right, but I love
you know.
how, you know, I mean, he manages to really create a mood.
Yeah.
You know, with all of that, he, you know, you just feel all this kind of tension, sort of underneath, you know, these other, you know, sort of, you know, kind of static panels, set in an office building, you know, and he managed to really create this, like, this mood of darkness and tension and, you know, something sinister.
Yeah, and there is a photographic reportage feel to the stuff you're reading. And what I like about it is you can kind of, in the writing and in the visuals, you can hear the electrostatic crackle of, you know, 60s audio equipment and you know, NASA computers beeping away. They really give you a sense of that stuff. I just absolutely really enjoyed the book.
Really good first issue. I really enjoyed it. And you know, I don't read all of Lemire's stuff, right, but you know, I really, you know, and sometimes it's like, you know, there will be things of his that don't really do it for me, but this I thought was really a great first issue. And you know, when I like his stuff, I really like it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this I definitely want to see, you know, where it's going. Do you know if is it like a mini series? Is it an ongoing? Do you know what the deal is?
Got a feeling it is an ongoing. He's got a bunch of series coming out. So right now he's got May's book, which I read last week, which is he's writing and illustrating that. That's very good. That is a very kind of wide open, decompressed book. You know, with a wonderfully kind of creepy feel. And the first issue was an oversized issue. It was like a $6, you know, kind of thick comic. It'll be interesting to see if the rest of the issues of the series are going to be like that. He's also got a 3-part Robin series coming, which is, I think, called Robins.
Right. That you know.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah,
I'm sold already, you know.
And that is going to be, I think, all the Robins teaming up to go and find Batman's original sidekick. That's with Dusting, and again, my pronunciation will trip me up, but Dusting the Iron. I think he's just announced something else. He's got another Bat book coming out, Black Label.
Really?
Bat stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that I haven't.
Or is it a Swamp Thing book? He might have a Black Label Swamp Thing book coming out in the oversized format. So he's obviously someone who enjoys working with creators who are going to kind of stretch the visual side of things as well. And, you know, it just... Black Hammer, I can't say enough good things about Black Hammer.
Loads of, you know, always tons of Black Hammer stuff coming out.
Yeah,
you know, he just did that Return of Sweet Tooth, like, you know.
Yeah, and you know, he's I imagine he shepherded the series through quite well. I just heard today that Sweet Tooth the series is in fact second only to Queen's Gambit in terms of views on Netflix. Okay, right. So we are talking about a popular series. There almost definitely will be a season 2 for that, which is good. I've got to give a quick shout out to Dave Stewart on this.
Who
is probably one of my favorite colorists. Often seen coloring Mike Mignola's Hellboy stuff, and just does a terrific job there. And of course, Steve Wan's on the letters and design of the book, and the design is very important in this book. That, you know, Steve Wan's always does a great job, and he switches styles very effortlessly. I love his stuff. Also, shout out to Greg Lockwood, the editor here on this book. because I can't imagine it was an easy book to kind of shepherd through.
Yeah, and a lot of Image books don't have editors. It's actually like,
yeah, they're kind of,
it's not that common because because the books are creator owned. Most writers don't bother enlisting editors, so it's a bit of an exception to that rule.
It is an odd thing because I guess you want to make sure the book's as tight as possible. I wonder if it's a matter of budget as well.
It is. I mean, a lot of I mean, if you're Jeff Lemire, then go ahead and hire an editor. But if you're not, then
but yeah, Primordial #1. That's the Dusting Nyan cover just there, which is cover number 3. Obviously, other covers are available. As always, I pick my comics up at Gosh. Liz picks hers up at That's Entertainment in Massachusetts. If you're in central London or in Massachusetts, you can pop into both those stores. Going to move on now to Titans United. So Liz, like, the reason I wanted to do this is because it's Cavan Scott on DC. Now, I really like Cavan's work. He's sort of very kind of horror influenced stuff, plus his Jackson obsession for Star Wars. He's just kind of doing the High Republic for Star Wars right now, which is a very exciting kind of arena for Star Wars to be in. I don't know how much you know about that, but that's worth checking out. However, I've never I don't recall him doing DC stuff before, although I think he has done 1 or 2 things. He
probably has, but if so, it's like passed me by. So this is the first DC thing of his that I've read as well. So and also for me, it wasn't just I mean, because obviously Cavan Scott's a draw for the book, but also it's been a while since I read a Titans book, and I didn't even realize that it was like Red Hood's on the team with Nightwing, which just makes me so happy.
I'm not quite up on what's going on with Titans. There's Titans Academy running at the moment. I'm not sure if they've got a Titans book at the moment beyond Titans Academy. But there has been a lot of stuff happening there. I just have not read it, though.
This is a great Titans, because it's always, whether or not I read Titans, sometimes it has to do with whoever, maybe it's like a writer that I'm not as jazzed about or whatever. But a lot of it for me does have to do with the team. I mean, usually it's Nightwing, who, as we all know, is like my fave. But
really, tell me more.
I know, really, yeah, I'm just shocking everyone there. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a great lineup of characters, and I love the dynamics between them right away. You've got like Jason just being a jerk to pretty much everybody, and you've got Beast Boy, just like you sort of making sort of lame attempts at flirting with all the ladies, and it was just really good team dynamics. They kind of throw you right into the action as you would want. And like you have this like villain who's not really a villain, like you don't really know what's going on there.
And he doesn't seem to be the only one either.
Right, as we come to find out,
more like him in the book. And what I liked about this is this character who seems to be kind of sucking the Titans' powers.
Right.
It's a concept that's been used before, but what I like about this is that it's a kind of old school, solid concept.
Right. Yeah. If it ain't broke, basically
solid kind of, almost classic DC comic, which I kind of, sometimes you miss in the kind of modern arena. And I think Cavan has just done really well with it. There is a slight notion of horrificness with it, which I think Cavan also really loves. I don't know how much. I know Cavan from Twitter and from. We had a massively long conversation when I interviewed him about the Shadow Service. I think a couple of years or last year. I can't even tell anymore because we've all been through the wild pandemic times. and we talked a lot about horror. He loves horror, and in fact, his next thing, which he was teasing on Twitter today, will be a sort of Victorian era. It looks like a vampire book, and I am totally there for that.
Right? Yeah. Me too. Obviously.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure we both love a bit of goth moodiness, and
yeah,
yeah. But he's very influenced by things like Hammer and stuff like that. I just really enjoyed this.
It was just a real fun issue, you know.
Yeah.
It was like it had all the ingredients, you know, and I really like, just kind of you get the gist that this is going to be a fun book, that there's like lots of little quips and repartee between the characters, just a lot of fun, as you would want a Titans book to be.
Yeah, and he does like the kind of team dynamics really well. He really locks into that. He's really got a sense of it. The art is fantastic, very expressive. I thought it was really solid art. I'm not that. I'm trying to think how familiar I am with Jose Luis's work. I'm sure I am, and I just can't remember. But here we've also got Jonas Trinidad on art, and Rex Locus on colors, and then Carlos M. Manigal is doing the letters. Like, everyone is just kind of playing like really well, that like really solidly. I think the worst thing in comics is when sometimes the writing feels as a separate piece from the art, and then the letters feel like a separate piece from the art. And I think they've just all kind of worked really well on this. And there's some nice big splash pages, and it's just like, this is great,
Right.
This is good, solid stuff.
Yeah, just like feel good comics, really, like,
Yeah. And I'm always pleased now when I see British writers on DC books or Marvel books. Like I know it's like it's an everyday occurrence almost, but I'm always.
But like, yeah, especially when you see these guys come up from from a lot of times from 2000 AD or other stuff, and then you start to get to see their names on things like Ram, writing Swamp Thing and Catwoman and stuff like that. It's I like that too.
It always gives me a little kind of jolt just to see, and especially people you've met who are kind of on these books, and it's just like I quite like that. But I just really enjoyed this. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It was a really just solid, excellent, fun book. I'm curious to see where they'll go with it.
Yeah, because there is, again, there's a little twist there that, we don't need to sort of, spoil for anyone. They bring in some characters who I wasn't expecting to see. And that was cool.
One of the characters who has got a lot of play in the last few years in the Bat books is now back in this, but with actual powers, which is a weird thing. But yeah, like you say, we can't say too much because it does spoil the book. It's always a bit of a tightrope to walk this kind of stuff, because how spoilery do you want to be? I really don't with comics, because I really hope that you guys will go out and hopefully listen to what we're kind of reviewing and think, yeah, I'll pick that up. I'll give that a try. But that's Titans United. I just picked up the A cover on that one. There you go.
I've got, obviously.
Oh yes, nice. Who did that variant?
This one is, let me see. Variant cover, Kyle New.
Okay.
But obviously Nightwing cover for me, and this is the Primordial cover that I picked up.
Excellent cover A, which I really like that cover. And again, strong graphic design elements on those books. I really like. I really like. I mean, funny enough, I got into a very brief conversation on Twitter with Adam Hughes earlier this evening, because we were commenting on some covers, including this stunning Kang cover that's coming in December, or coming soon, for issue. I hope it's issue 2, but there was almost kind of like a tribute to Dali. And
whose cover was it?
Oh God, I don't know, because it was just like they just chucked up the covers, and one of Adam's was on there in the it was,
right.
So Joe Toulon chucked up some covers from Marvel's next round of solicits. The can cover, Adam's doing stunning work on Black Widow covers at the moment, and the book itself is fantastic. So I kind of commented, wow, that can cover, and Adam was like, yeah, look, we're living in a golden age of comic covers right now, and to that I can only agree.
I wish some of my favorites, obviously.
Oh,
I mean, there was I think I want to say this week or last week's Trial of Magneto cover with the Scarlet Witch on it. That is stunning.
Do you remember the famous Catwoman cover of her in the police, getting her photo taken?
Yeah.
With the police identifier
her mug
badge.
Shots,
yeah. So yes, thank you. The mugshots is the word I was looking for. So in this most recent issue of Batman Catwoman, there is a tribute to that cover in the comic.
Oh, really? I haven't read it yet.
So it's Liam Sharp kind of doing Adam Hughes, which was an interesting thing. And I said to Adam, you're doing a lot of the great cover work at the moment. You're part of that golden age. And he said that he's just trying to keep up with all the these really amazing
very
kids.
Humble, obviously,
But wonderful artists, as were all the artists featured on that particular thing. That's our buddy Joe Toulon at Joby1. If you want to follow his Twitter and take a look at the covers that he put up. So Liz, that's the 2 books done. We've got to talk
mention,
about that
I just want to do it. We're going to talk about that trailer. But before we do, I just want to give, because obviously we haven't done this show in a while. And I thought it might be nice to mention, like last week, I really enjoyed Dark Ages.
Yes, Tom Taylor.
From Marvel. Tom Taylor.
Who's the artist?
Ivan Coelho.
Right, yes. I think Coelho is one of Marvel's, as they call the Stormbreakers. So they're the kind of new wave of international artists, along with people like Peach Momoko and Patrick Gleason. They're sort of coming up, and people are really loving their work at the moment. It's a beautiful looking book. The art is fantastic. And I just wanted to mention it because I just enjoyed it a lot. It was it was one I had kind of been looking forward to anyway, and then I really enjoyed the issue. And it's it's another thing where Tom Taylor is kind of like he's kind of known for kind of doing these things that exist a little bit outside of continuity, like Injustice, like Deceased, and taking you on this like alternate journey with the characters, basically. So the premise with Dark Ages is that basically you get like an apocalypse scenario sort of happen right at the beginning, and most of probably the vast majority of all your superheroes and supervillains and the population of Earth are killed off. That's bleak.
Oh, it's pretty bleak. But there's this little straggly, motley crew of survivors, including some of our favorite heroes. I won't say which ones, left over, and to kind of pick up the pieces at the end. But then you also come to find out that, in fact, a bunch of villains survived too. One in particular who is very much taking advantage of this new scenario. So it was, that was a really, a great start for that book.
I kind of, do you know what? I skipped it. And the reason I skipped it is because I thought it was going to be like a huge event thing. And I was just like, I get really burned out on the events. And I know they're popular, and I know they make money and everything. But I get really burned out trying to keep up with those. So I much prefer to wait until they've been published in trade form. Although even in that form, some of them are too huge. Like I genuinely felt, quality aside, that King in Black is actually too unwieldy for me to even begin to kind of
fair enough. I mean,
grasp.
but with this book, that's really not the case. This is like totally exists on its own. There's no, unless they are doing any kind of spin-offs. I don't know about that, but
I don't think they are.
Really, as far as I know, it's just this book, and it really just exists in its own bubble. It, there's, obviously, no knock-on effect with anything else that's going on. Based on the plot I just summed up for you. So
yeah.
So if you were on the fence about it, I say pick it up. It was I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just, this is like, I think one of the things that Tom Taylor does best is, kind of play outside the line, color outside the lines, basically, do stuff that you can't really do in a continuity set book.
Well, his next thing is kind of Dark Knights of Steel, which is,
that looks medieval, awesome too. I'm all over that. All over. We will talk about that on the podcast.
I'm sure. I like Tom Taylor stuff, and of course, in particular, we've got to talk about Nightwing and say
very
that
briefly,
is the strongest I think book he has out at the moment. Like, that's a wonderful book.
It's so fantastic. Yeah,
I'm actually kind of annoyed that I've got to wait until I think it's December when the hardcover comes out for the first sort of 6 issues, and it's just like, oh man, come on, I miss so much of it. I really just want to read it now.
Right. Yeah, it's been loads of fun, so I think you will really enjoy it. And we happened to see today they released like a 5-page preview of an issue coming up in December, I think.
So
that
Nightwing
looks
87.
So good. Yeah. Nightwing 87. It is basically going to be one long action scene.
Yeah, one image throughout the entire book,
right?
Which is just, I can't remember if anyone's done
a continuous
that.
image, and I can't think if anybody's done that. But like, Bruno Redondo is the guy to do it. Like, we commented when we talked about I think it was issue 82 or 83. I can't really remember. But we commented on his ability to kind of like, take you on this like kind of side frame, like,
sure.
And he does that really well. And it's like, if you get a chance to Google, Nightwing 87 and take a preview of those pages, it's like, he was born to do this. Like, it's I can't, kind of think of an artist better suited to it.
It's amazing stuff. It's on Polygon, I believe, the article. You can take a look at that now. I intend to go back and take another look a bit later on.
We'll definitely talk about
wonderful
that
stuff. Yeah.
We'll talk about it the week it comes out. So now I think it's we can, unless you wanted to talk about Ma, then
no, I just do want to give a brief mention to more from Boom Comics by Jude Ellison, S. Doyle, and A.L. Kaplan. There you go. There's more. Interesting kind of book that feels like it's set in the 70s but actually isn't, and has this really wonderfully creeping culty I don't know, strange odd feel to it, but just obviously a bit of a trigger warning. The book does depict rape and sexual assault and things, and I think if you're perhaps not keen to look at stuff like it's not graphic or salacious, but it does discuss those subjects, and if you are not keen to get into that, don't do it. But I think there's definitely going to be an interesting story there. I think it's going to be 5 issues, but that's out now from Boom. That beautiful cover by, I don't know if you can see that, guys, that beautiful cover by Ariella Christiana, who's an amazing artist who I think doesn't get enough play on kind of websites and things, and just I would love to talk to her at some stage about her art, because she does fantastic stuff.
Okay, so now
the trailer.
We will very quickly, because we still have to talk about the movie.
Shang-Chi, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say? It looks awesome. It just looks so awesome. I mean, okay, so obviously we're talking about the Hawkeye trailer that dropped this week.
I think everyone's just doing a great job acting-wise in it. A lot of comments about the die-hard feel of the thing, which is great. It does look like increasingly we are getting an adaptation of Matt Fraction and David Aha's amazing 22-issue run on the book from 2016, I want to say.
Right. You know, complete with like, you know, Clint and Kate getting like, you know, just punched in the face repeatedly and being covered in like cuts and bruises.
Yeah.
And, you know, just, you know, showcasing the fact that neither of them actually have like super strength or powers except for, you know, being really good shots. But I mean, it just looks like it is going to be a blast. Like it looks like so much fun.
And of course, what kind of thrills me about it beyond the Christmas setting, because I love stuff set at Christmas, and you know, a lot of comments on that. Die Hard, Shane Black, you know, obviously all got thrown into the mix there. But the thing that thrills me about it is it with Clint trying to get home for Christmas. It's a story about going home, about getting home, and I love stories about journeys home. You know, I think it's going to be such a solid series, but of course we will reserve judgment. We will probably do an after show after much discussing and debate. Yeah, apparently we will.
Come on,
because of course I have no control over the the videos that I do or what my website wants to do.
We will do
Not
it
anymore. There's a reason why we didn't do videos for so long, folks. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we probably will do an after show on that one. So expect that in late November. November 24th, I think the series drops. Staying with Disney, Marvel, the MCU, let's talk very briefly about Shang-Chi. Now, I didn't know what to expect with this one. I am quite a sort of low-key fan of martial arts stuff. I will confess to liking the more Americanized style of martial arts stuff. I am loosely familiar with, and again, I hope I'm saying it correctly, the kind of wushu type of films, which have quite a melodramatic style and quite a fantastic style. I mean, how do you feel about it, Liz?
Yeah, I mean, that would be that. And when you're describing that, you're talking about something like Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, and also,
where there's like a fantasy element. There's usually a romance. There's usually beautiful cinematography.
So I think for Western audiences, the big name checks there would be, as you say, Crouching Tiger. They would be Hero. They would be the House of Fallen Leaves and things like that. Some of the work by Wong Kar-wai, Ashes of Time. So, you know, I know that stuff better than I know the actual proper wushu stuff. And I think, I don't know if it's wushu or wuxia. So I apologize to anyone, you know, offended. I don't mean to offend anyone by mispronouncing it. The style of that stuff is fantasy meets melodrama almost, with very long passages of time and dialogue, and you know, where the environment kind of becomes as important as the characters. And I feel that translated really well into the film.
Yes. Yeah. I think it, you know, obviously, you know, you've got that whole beautiful scene near the beginning of the film where Wenwu and Ying Li meet for the first time in front of Ta Lo, which I think is very, you know, is very much channeling, you know, that vibe. But you've got to, like, you know, basically, as you say, you know, I'm more familiar with the Americanized kind of, you know, versions of a lot of the even the, you know, kind of martial arts films and stuff like that. You know, I'm kind of, you know, I've seen a few of like, you know, the kind of classic martial arts films, but to be
Sure.
honest, I'm more, you know, I'm more versed with like, you know, kind of the,
Yeah.
you know, Jackie Chan films and, you know, um
Sure. And
stuff like
I think
that.
that the Jackie Chan stuff is actually quite a good grounding for some of that, especially for the earlier American sequences in the film. I love the
Yeah, like
moment on
Rush
the
Hour 2 and stuff like
yeah.
that, you know.
Well,
Like
yeah, okay. I mean,
that scene on
sorry,
the
I was
bus,
thinking of
like that,
yeah.
you know,
Um,
stuff like that, you know, like you know, there was like that incredible scene early into the film where you kind of find out, you know, that Sean is actually a,
yeah.
you know, unbelievable martial artist.
See, I
Uh
I love that trope in movies. I love the undiscovered hero or the
right.
hidden hero trope. Like I adore it. I think it's a
Yeah.
great
I mean, it's always
um
so satisfying. And in that, you know, I thought that was one of the best scenes of the film. I mean, the fight
absolutely.
itself was just unbelievable. You know, you know, I would say it really surpasses anything else that they've done uh in the MCU, uh, you know, fighting wise.
Okay.
You know, I can't really think of a better, you know, I mean, not just that scene in particular, but I feel like this film.
Okay. Yeah.
You
I think
know,
it's obviously the most hand-to-hand combat heavy of any Marvel movie.
right.
And it's a very
And
different
like
genre.
super
Yeah.
well choreographed.
Mm, completely. And very different genre for them to go into.
Right.
Um
I mean, and
and
obviously, you know, if you want to talk MCU, you're still talking about Iron Fist, and this like mops the floor with the fight scenes in Iron Fist. Unfortunately, you know,
sure.
it's, I mean, you know, which I still liked Iron Fist, but you know, I mean,
There was a bit of discussion about this last night in the pub about Iron Fist. Unfortunately, I'm not going to repeat some of the, or fortunately rather, I'm not going to repeat some of the more uncharitable comments that were made around the table. But
right.
yeah, I really liked Iron Fist, but it's great to see this kind of back in the culture from which it came. You know, however, I feel that if you're talking about these more diverse areas of the MCU, I feel that Black Panther integrated its culture, sort of cultures, better into the fabric of the MCU than this did. Um, and I feel that the further you got into those kind of wuxia elements, the further away I felt the film got from me as an audience member. And obviously I realize I'm probably not the key demographic for this. I'm not the target. And therefore,
Well,
you
who's
know,
the
who
target
cares?
then?
No, but I think young Asian people are definitely, you know, it's got to be a real thrill for them to be able to see a Marvel hero
Right. But I think
from
it's
their
meant to
culture, you
appeal
know.
to anyone.
Sure,
You
sure.
know,
But
but
I like I felt with this one, I'd like to see it again. Um, at home, you know, so I can really connect with it a bit better. Um, I think I feel like it got wild by the end. Like there was some crazy stuff in there that we'd never
I feel
seen
like
before.
okay, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I would say that the first 2/3 of the film were stronger for me than the sort of last third that was
Yeah,
all kind of set into low, and not because I didn't enjoy that. I just felt it suffered from like maybe some you know, special effects issues for me. Like it was
sure,
very, you know, I mean, like obviously you've got all these fantasy elements and everything, but that kind of showed to me that it was like, you know, it just felt like you were suddenly dumped into, you know, you were taken out of, you know, earlier in the film where you kind of had this like beautiful, you know, cinematography,
mm,
you know, sort of, you know, that felt, you know, that felt like you were out in, you know, nature and beauty, to feeling, you know, very much feeling the green screen, you know.
right,
um
yeah, okay.
So I mean that's my, that's one of my few criticisms, because I did actually think that the story itself, the characters, the action sequences, all of that I found really captivating. You have this stellar cast, of these like fantastic actors. Tony Leung, if I'm pronouncing his name
who
correctly,
has never done an American movie.
Right, but he's huge,
Yeah. And if
eh,
you, speaking of Wong Kar-wai, if you ever see the stuff that he's done with Wong Kar-wai, like In the Mood for Love and things like that, that stuff's great. He's a phenomenal actor, and he's very contained as an actor.
and he's so good in this. I
Yeah.
mean, he, his character. So I mean, it's interesting too. We finally got the real Mandarin.
Although, as he points out, not the name
Right.
the Mandarin, which I'm glad they managed to address that, because I feel that I can see why that's been such a bloody issue, for so long, and it is kind of, but those things.
But in terms of the MCU, because they've been hinting at the Mandarin from Iron Man 1. The 10 Rings is
absolutely,
it's been present right from the beginning.
And of course, speaking of the Mandarin, we do get of course
another character from an Iron Man film that I was very happy to see.
And I'm really sorry. Despite being surrounded by a top-notch comedian, or despite working with a top-notch comedian like Awkwafina, who is who I think is hilarious. I absolutely adore her. I will watch anything with her in, because I just really like her delivery and her kind of attitude, and I love Awkwafina. And to be to have her in the cast, and for him to outdo her
in terms of
comedy. In a couple of minutes. Well, I mean, the Planet of the Apes thing was.
Oh, I was dying.
I was just crying. Yeah, I
genuinely.
think...
Ben Kingsley. I mean, stealing the show again.
I think it was a great part. I think that and the Planet of the Apes thing, that was probably one of the scenes of the year for me. I genuinely think it was a moment of just pure genius. But also we've got to talk about Simu Lau, who just was fantastic.
Right, so good, so funny, really, I can't say that I'm familiar with him in other roles, but I just loved him. I think it was just a perfect stroke of casting, and not to bring it up again with Iron Fist, but this guy can actually do the martial arts. It's
absolutely.
He's incredible. It's so it's that is it shows, it really shows just how good he is. And that's not down to kind of any kind of I'm sure he probably has stunt doubles and things like that, but he clearly really, really knows how to do martial arts.
I really enjoyed the movie. I do want to watch it again. I feel that the pace, but I wasn't. Sometimes it takes me a couple of watches to. I feel that sometimes the first watch is about assimilating the pace of the movie, and then once you've done that, you're better prepared to watch it again and enjoy it more. I mean, there's a lot of Civil War. I really did not enjoy the first time out, and now it's one of my favorite. Yeah, hold on, what? I'm sorry, it's not a prerequisite to enjoy these films. It really isn't. It's not like.
I just don't understand.
I don't have a moral obligation to enjoy MCU films automatically just because I read comics.
I like Civil War. I loved it so much upon first watching it that I literally, if they'd let me stay in the theater and just watch it again immediately, I would have done that.
But the thing is, Liz,
all night long.
It's not
but it was a
breaking
preview
news,
screening,
is
so.
it? Liz enjoys MCU. I'm sorry.
Right. Whatever. But Shang-Chi is like the one that I haven't seen more than once yet. Usually I'll go like, within, twice within a couple of days of each other. And I haven't gotten to do that with Shang-Chi yet because I've been so busy. Obviously I've got my new job
working at that sea.
Working at that sea in Worcester, Mass. So should you happen to be around this way, you can come visit me.
I'll be there next week.
Yeah. On Park Avenue, Worcester, on the corner of Lois Lane. And that is a real. It is. They had the street name changed to Lois Lane. Thank you very much. Awesome. I work on Lois Lane.
That is awesome.
I
love it.
Yeah. But it's so I've been very busy. And I haven't got to see Shang-Chi for a second time, so I'm a little sad about that. But I definitely think I will do that before it leaves the cinema because I'd really like to see it again on the big screen.
I think I'm going to wait until it hits Disney Plus. I think, or it comes out on Blu-ray, and I'll buy it. I haven't picked up Black Widow yet because that came out on Monday, and I still need to grab that. But I'll wait and see it again at home. Not because I think I can't be bothered to go to the cinema. I'm just not enjoying the cinema experience at the moment. So I'm trying to keep my cinema trips to a minimum. I am looking forward to Bond. I am looking forward to Matrix, which of course the trailer for that dropped. Stay in the martial arts vein. I am looking forward to Dune. I was talking
Sorry, speaking of the Matrix, I just have to interrupt you. I think that one of the the action cinematographers also worked on the Matrix.
Oh wow! Okay.
And you can really tell in some of the scenes, there is during that that beautiful scene at the beginning with Wenwu and Ying Li. There's a moment there that's literally almost the same as the bullets moment. With the rings, and when I found that out, I was like, "Oh wow, that makes perfect sense."
Amazing! I didn't know that. I loved the Matrix, the first Matrix. The new trailer looks incredible. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing Shang-Chi again. Bond, as I said, Dune. I was talking to our good buddy Keith Isles today from Home Media Minefield about doing something for Bond and doing something for Dune, but the Bond one we might do over on Keith's channel. So look out for that at the end of I think it's October. Who knows what the release dates are anymore? But yeah, guys, I think we're about wrapped up, aren't we, Liz? I
think so.
It's been a good week. It's nice to come back finally. There's a lot of good comics coming out at the moment. I cannot believe the amount of good stuff that's heading our way. I mean, DC are killing it at the moment. They're doing such wild ideas. I really love the look of all the Batman stuff they've got coming. Although it is Batman heavy, that's the only trouble I have with it. It's nearly all.
Why is that a problem?
It's not a problem. I just think I'd like to see a few more things coming through. Do you know what was announced today? Mark Russell and Steve Lieber on a book called One Star Squadron, which is kind of about the lower tier superheroes who don't have billions in the bank or Fortress of Solitude.
Right.
It looks amazing, and
Mark Russell is a funny guy.
Yeah, I took a look at one of the covers.
A perfect book for him.
Yeah, it just looks phenomenal, and it looks very much in the vein of the Justice League International stuff by Giffen and Damon T.S. and it's Red Tornado, Power Girl. I haven't seen Power Girl for ages.
No.
And a few other kind of more Z-list heroes. Right. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh wow, yeah.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it being Batman. What I have a problem with is just the sheer amount.
I mean, as long as it's good, I mean, right. I mean, I sort of understand, but there's no such thing to me as too much Batman, you know, like not that
true.
I'll necessarily read all of it, you know, but I mean, like, there's going to be some good stuff in there. I mean, I'm dying to read that Robin series. I'm dying to read like, that
there are two Robin series coming. I think this month or next month.
right.
Two. So one is Robin's, and then the others, I can't remember what the other one is. But there's like two new Robin series coming. So yeah.
I mean, you know, that's good news.
It is good news. I'm looking forward to all this stuff, but yeah, I think the challenge is keeping up and balancing it out with everything else. You know, I want to see some more of the indie books that are out there and catch up with that stuff. We'll be trying to cover as much as possible every week on this show from now on. Of course,
send requests. Feel free to send requests if you know, if there's something you. Mm-hmm.
If you know how to pronounce Jeff Lemire's name, then do tell us in the comments. Tell us what you've read this week. That's what I really want to hear. I want to hear what other people are reading. Have you read any of the books that we talked about this week? What do you think? What do you have to add to our comments? As Liz said, please do drop us a line. We will try and answer every comment if we can. Please do subscribe. Take a look at the Patreon because that really helps us out, guys. And of course, there is the Comic Crush web store with comics in. But if you want to do your comic shopping for brand new stuff, Gosh Comics in Berwick Street in London, Soho, on Lois Lane in Massachusetts.
On Lois Lane and Park Ave in Worcester, Massachusetts.
In Worcester, Massachusetts. That's entertainment where you can catch up with my delightful co-host here. That's it for us, I think, Liz. Anything you want to add? You're done?
You're finished? I'm finished. You know, I can still talk about those after credit scenes in Shang-Chi, but you know.
Oh God, they were yes. Interesting stuff. Do you think the big threat is going to be the characters that they've talked about in the Eternals, or do you think we are going to finally see Galactus?
I don't know, but you know, it seems like it could be possible.
Also, there is one thing that people are not talking about from the post-credit scene that I do want to bring up just quickly. We've got 3 minutes. Bruce Banner.
Not Professor Hulk.
What the hell?
Hulk. So he is there? Right, and his arm is broken. So there's a lot to talk about there. I mean, who knows exactly why he's Puny Banner again? But he, you know, obviously, you know, the broken arm led me to believe that we're talking about him putting on the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, back in Endgame, and you know, maybe somehow that broke down his ability to, you know, to be both Hulk and Banner at once.
See, I really like the Hulk as a character in terms of that transformation. Like, I love that. I don't know why, but I've always really enjoyed that thing where there's that moment, you know, and he
where he turns into the Hulk. I know, and like, to me, that's kind of, you know, what's exciting. So I'm personally happy that he, you know, he can, you know, be Banner again, and hopefully, you know, transform into the Hulk and control it.
I've got to say, as I recall from the podcast we did way back when for Infinity for Endgame, I found the Professor Hulk thing like a step too far for me. I was just like, nope. That's not for me.
Mean, fair enough. I mean, it's it works for the character in the comics, but yeah, I mean, it seems like another reason I think honestly could be budgetary, because he's going to appear in She-Hulk, and you know, it's a lot of mocap and expensive effects for them to have him in Professor Hulk mode the whole time. So
wow, do you know what? Last 30 seconds, I read recently that way back when there was going to be a She-Hulk series with Gabrielle Reese. Do you remember Gabrielle Reese, the volleyball player?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously,
she looks like she could be She-Hulk for sure.
Being a young male at the time, there's no way you'd forget Gabrielle Reese. But yeah, she was going to be She-Hulk in a series. And apparently, I don't think they ever got as far as shooting the pilot, but they certainly approached her about it. And they were going to bring back Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno.
Oh my God! What?
For like the early parts of the series. Yeah, you can find it on. I can't remember where I read it now, but it's somewhere online. You'll be able to find out about it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Liz, thank you so much for giving me an hour of your time to do this. It's really lovely to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
And thanks for bringing your knowledge and enthusiasm to the books again this week, guys. We'll catch you soon. Remember, subscribe to the channel. Go and check out thecomicrush.com. Check out Gosh Comics. Check out That's Entertainment. And yeah, check out the Patreon. That really helps us. That'd be good. Guys, we'll catch you next week. Should be Thursday or Friday next week. We don't know. We just live our lives however we want to.